The year was 2016. The world still clung to the naive belief that money resided solely within bank vaults, guarded by steel and concrete. But the age of digital finance had dawned, and with it, a new breed of criminal mastermind. In the heart of Bangladesh, a meticulously planned cyber heist was about to unfold, shaking the very foundations of global finance. The target, the Bangladesh Bank, the country's central bank. Little did the world know, a group of hackers were about to pull off one of the most audacious cyber heists in history. The Bangladesh Bank heist wasn't just about the money, though the sum involved was staggering. It was a stark reminder of our collective vulnerability in a world increasingly reliant on invisible networks and digital currencies. The attackers, believed to be the Lazarus Group, were not opportunistic thieves but highly sophisticated operators, likely backed by a nation-state. Their target was not a local bank but a pillar of the global financial system. The heist, audacious in its conception and execution, sent shockwaves through the world. It exposed the fragility of our digital infrastructure and the very real threat posed by state-sponsored cybercrime. The attack served as a wake-up call, forcing governments and financial institutions to confront the new realities of cyber warfare. The events that unfolded in Bangladesh were a harbinger of things to come, a sign that the battleground had shifted to the digital realm. The heist underscored the need for greater international cooperation, robust cybersecurity measures, and a fundamental shift in how we perceive and address the threats of the digital age. The Lazarus Group, a shadowy collective of elite hackers, emerged from the digital ether, their origins shrouded in mystery. Believed to be operating with the backing of the North Korean government, they were known for their technical prowess and brazen tactics. Their motives extended beyond mere financial gain, often targeting entities perceived as hostile to North Korea's interests. The group's expertise lay in exploiting vulnerabilities in global financial systems. Their arsenal included sophisticated malware, zero-day exploits, and a deep understanding of interbank messaging systems. Their attacks were not smash-and-grab operations but meticulously planned campaigns, often spanning months or even years. Before setting their sights on Bangladesh Bank, the Lazarus Group honed their skills in a series of smaller attacks on financial institutions around the world. These operations served as reconnaissance missions, allowing them to test their tools, gather intelligence, and refine their tactics. Each successful attack brought them closer to their ultimate goal, a heist of unprecedented scale. The group's ability to operate with seeming impunity stemmed from their sophisticated tradecraft and the geopolitical complexities surrounding North Korea. Their attacks were difficult to attribute with certainty, and even when evidence pointed towards Pyongyang, the international community struggled to formulate a coordinated response. The heist of Bangladesh Bank was not a spur-of-the-moment operation. It was the culmination of months, if not years, of meticulous planning and reconnaissance. The Lazarus Group, like master thieves casing a high-security vault, spent considerable time studying their target, understanding its systems, and identifying vulnerabilities. Their target was not the bank's main systems, but a seemingly innocuous target: the bank's connection to the SWIFT network. SWIFT, the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication, is the backbone of international banking, facilitating trillions of dollars in transactions daily. By infiltrating Bangladesh Bank's SWIFT terminal, the hackers could send fraudulent transfer requests, effectively ordering the Federal Reserve Bank of New York to transfer funds into their accounts. The hackers began by infiltrating Bangladesh Bank's systems, likely through carefully crafted phishing emails designed to trick employees into revealing their login credentials. Once inside, they moved laterally, gaining access to critical systems and planting malware that allowed them to monitor the bank's activities and cover their tracks. To maximize their gains, the hackers timed their attack to coincide with a weekend, knowing that banks in New York would be closed and any discrepancies in transactions would take longer to detect. It was a plan as audacious as it was cunning, relying on a combination of technical prowess, meticulous planning, and an understanding of human vulnerabilities. February 4, 2016. A seemingly ordinary Thursday in Bangladesh, but within the digital corridors of the country's central bank, a storm was brewing. The Lazarus Group, their digital fingers hovering over keyboards, prepared to unleash their meticulously crafted plan. The hackers had infiltrated the bank's systems weeks earlier, patiently waiting for the opportune moment to strike. As the day progressed in Bangladesh, night fell in New York City, hushing the bustling financial district into slumber. The hackers, exploiting the time difference, sprang into action. Using the stolen SWIFT credentials, they began flooding the Federal Reserve Bank of New York with fraudulent transfer requests. Millions of dollars disguised as legitimate payments to entities in the Philippines and Sri Lanka began flowing out of Bangladesh Bank's account. The hackers had anticipated the bank's security protocols, peppering their requests with seemingly innocuous errors, hoping to slip past automated security checks. Section 5. The money trail, following the digital breadcrumbs. The hackers, emboldened by their initial success, grew bolder. Transfer requests, each bearing seemingly legitimate instructions, flowed through the SWIFT system, siphoning money from Bangladesh Bank's account at an alarming rate. The money, once it left the Federal Reserve, was quickly moved through a complex web of accounts, casinos, and money laundering networks, making it virtually untraceable. The hackers routed the stolen funds through banks in the Philippines and Sri Lanka, exploiting loopholes in these countries' financial regulations. From there, the money disappeared into a labyrinth of shell companies, casinos, and money exchanges, effectively vanishing from the digital grid. However, the hackers' meticulous planning had a fatal flaw, a simple typo. In one of the transfer requests, they misspelled the name of a recipient organization, raising a red flag at the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. This seemingly minor error would prove to be their undoing, setting off a chain of events that would unravel their entire operation. The typo alerted bank officials, who upon closer inspection grew suspicious of the unusually timed and large-scale transactions. They immediately contacted Bangladesh Bank, but by then, the damage had been done. The hackers had managed to transfer over $81 million with another $20 million stopped just in time. Section 6. Alarm bells and frantic calls. As dawn broke on Friday morning in Dhaka, Bangladesh, a sense of unease settled over the Bangladesh Bank. Frantic calls from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York confirmed their worst fears. Their systems had been compromised and millions of dollars were missing. The news sent shockwaves through the bank, quickly escalating into a national crisis. Panic ensued as bank officials scrambled to understand the extent of the breach and trace the stolen funds. The realization that their systems, once considered impenetrable, had been breached by a group of highly sophisticated cybercriminals sent shivers down their spines. The gravity of the situation was amplified by the fact that it was the country's central bank, the custodian of the nation's wealth, that had been robbed. The Bangladesh government, caught off guard by the scale and audacity of the attack, struggled to formulate a coherent response. Accusations flew, blame was shifted, and the nation watched in disbelief as the details of the heist unfolded in the media. The heist, a stark reminder of the country's vulnerability in the digital age, had dealt a severe blow to its national pride and international reputation. The attack sent ripples throughout the global financial community. Banks worldwide, realizing the vulnerability of their own systems, rushed to review their security protocols and assess their exposure to similar attacks. The heist served as a stark reminder that in the interconnected world of digital finance, no one was immune to the threat of cybercrime. Section 7. The aftermath, a nation reeling. The fallout from the Bangladesh Bank Heist was swift and brutal. The stolen $81 million, a significant sum for a developing country like Bangladesh, represented years of economic progress. The heist had a devastating impact on the country's economy, shaking investor confidence and raising questions about the security of its financial institutions. The heist exposed the shortcomings in Bangladesh's cybersecurity infrastructure and the lack of preparedness in dealing with sophisticated cyberattacks. The government faced severe criticism for its handling of the situation, with many questioning the competence of its security agencies and the transparency of the investigation. The heist also sparked a blame game, with Bangladesh bank officials pointing fingers at the Federal Reserve Bank of New York for failing to prevent the fraudulent transactions. The incident strained diplomatic relations between the two countries and led to a protracted legal battle over the recovery of the stolen funds. The heist left an indelible mark on Bangladesh, forcing the nation to confront its vulnerabilities in the digital age. It underscored the urgent need for investment in cybersecurity infrastructure, training of personnel, and international collaboration to combat the growing threat of cybercrime. Section 8. The global hunt for the cyber thieves. The audacious heist of Bangladesh Bank triggered a global manhunt, with law enforcement agencies from multiple countries joining forces to track down the perpetrators. The FBI, Interpol, and cybersecurity experts from around the world pooled their resources, determined to bring the cybercriminals to justice. The investigation quickly focused on the Lazarus Group, whose fingerprints were all over the sophisticated attack. Their history of targeting financial institutions, combined with the technical complexity of the heist, made them the prime suspects. The investigation revealed that the Lazarus Group had spent months, if not years, planning the heist, meticulously studying Bangladesh Bank's systems and identifying vulnerabilities. The investigation was hampered by the group's sophisticated tradecraft, their use of proxies and anonymizing tools, and the geopolitical complexities surrounding North Korea. Despite these challenges, investigators made some headway, tracing the stolen funds through a complex web of accounts and intermediaries, ultimately leading them to individuals with suspected ties to North Korea. The investigation, though complex and challenging, demonstrated the importance of international cooperation in combating cybercrime. It highlighted the need for shared intelligence, coordinated action, and a united front against those who seek to exploit the interconnectedness of the digital world for criminal gain.